Hey, my name is Jim Burris, and thank you for taking the time out of your day to watch this YouTube video. This is one of the first videos I've made in a long time. I'm actually getting refocused and I'm developing a business. So the goal of this YouTube channel right now, number one, is to document my process and to use it as a tool of what I've learned. By teaching something, it helps me understand and gain more wisdom and repetitions from the things I'm learning and applying. So, who this YouTube channel is for, it's for me, but some of you out there are very similar to me as far as, we'll call it the persona of I'm gonna say buyer persona, but where you are. I'll be 48 this year. I'm a male, the United States of America. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. I'm currently living in St. Louis, Missouri. I've lived all over the world. But I'm an entrepreneur. I'm in sales. I'm a very driven person. I would say I'm relatively competitive in some aspects, well, most aspects of my life. I'd say a healthy competition where I don't, dilute others with, just shitty competition where it's kind of co-creation, right? We'll call it that. So this message is for you. I want to help share what I've learned with you because I'm assuming some of you are probably on this journey as well, parallel to mine, where you've had an amazing life or maybe you haven't, and now you're here and you're trying to figure out what's next. So the goal of this is to help you. I'm going to adjust the audio here. So to help you, so I'm going to be giving back to the world by sharing my journey. So again, you probably align with me in some way if you're here or if you're watching this after long. I'm also going to document how I set up some of the tech. I know that scares a lot of people. I'm using OBS and I'm using free tools essentially, right? And this video isn't about that. And I'll go into those more in detail. So you can like and subscribe to the channel. Also, there'll probably be a link below where you can sign up to a mailing list. I won't spam you, I promise. It'll just share information, new videos that I put together, just documenting the journey. So I'm going to refine this message, right? Who I'm really speaking to, so I learn how to speak to those people better. I'm also going to share experience that I have in my 48 years on earth, or the 20 years in sales. Also personal development, which I really think is key to success in your life. I know personal development can have an interesting flavor to it. You may think of positive mental attitude or Tony Robbins or whoever, and Tony Robbins is great. He's obviously successful. Great information. I've read his books. But what happens, and what happened in my life, is I got into this paralysis of, I read this book, and I got to read the next one, and then I got to go on to the next one, and then, I never did anything with. I didn't do as much as I could because I got caught up in learning as opposed to doing. I always thought that it was part of my self-image that I needed to learn more to take the next step, when in reality that's not true. Not to say that you'll ever stop or you shouldn't stop educating yourself, but you should focus, a lot on what you already know and how to apply it. And then the next step will kind of naturally show up. I don't want to go off too far in the deep end yet. So today, what I want to do is talk to you about a book that I bought a couple years ago. I'm going to tell you how I found the book and then what it's done for me and kind of my journey with the book. And the book that I'm talking about is Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Dr. Joe Dispenza. I'll put a link in to Amazon below. I will get like a little affiliate commission for those. Doesn't cost you anything more. Just want to be transparent about that. So how I found Joe Dispenza's book, most books that have been impactful in my life, I've found in a unique way. Abraham Hicks, I'm a big fan of, very impactful in my life, I should say. Her book was like in the library, Ask and It's Given, it had fallen off the shelf. Like, not as I was walking by, but like, right, you know what I mean? It's like everything was organized and there was this book on the floor. And then there was another book, Joseph Murphy, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, which all these books kind of tie together. They're not business books yet, but they're the core. I think they help with the underpinnings, the foundation of who you are as a human being to help you build a successful company. So that's where all this is going. So I think I was rereading The Power of Your Subconscious Mind at a coffee shop in, I guess it's Dallas, the DFW area. It was in Addison, Richardson. It was on Beltline. There was if you're familiar with the area, it was I believe it was a Starbucks, and I was reading Power of Your Subconscious Mind while I was having a cup of coffee, and this guy came by, and he's like, "Hey, man, you ever heard of Dr. Joe Dispenza?" And I said, "No," and I hadn't at the time. And he told me about him, and I looked up his book, and I purchased it. I don't know if it was, I have a few of his books, but I think it was his other one, which I don't know the name off the top of my head, but it was a good book. I read it, and like a lot of books, and like what most people do, didn't do anything with the information. I was like, oh, it just reinforced some of the things that I had already heard, but never took action on it. So fast forward, I got this book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself, and read it, didn't do anything with it. And then my life went on, you know what I mean? And then a couple years later, now I'm back in St. Louis. I'm making this video. It's the 18th of January, 2026. I've been back in St. Louis, kind of getting, I would say stabilized, but starting over at a new job and getting moved back here. I've been here about 4.5 months. And things weren't going as planned, how I had planned them. And I got a little disparaged, I guess is the word. I wouldn't say depressed. I don't like to use that word. I wasn't like, oh, woe is me, but I was just, I was really down in my emotions, and I was struggling with just kind of, really focusing on where I wanted to go. So that's happened to me several times in life, and always a book has helped, a book or some sort of mentorship or coaching, counsel, whatever you want to use that word, talking to someone, has helped me break through it. So one thing I learned years ago, every breakdown has a tremendous breakthrough. It's that may not make sense to you now. Some of you may get it, or if you think about times in your life when you were kind of like down and out, or just like, I'm not sure what's going on. On the other side of that, if you take the time and you have the awareness, take the time to like reflect on it and develop an awareness, you go, oh, that was a critical point in my life. So I don't know what it was that said, hey, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself is the book that you need to pick up to read. I had it, on my bookshelf, and I think I was just, I do. I think I was listening to a YouTube video as I was falling asleep with, I think the guy's name is Lewis. I can't remember the podcast. It's a really good show. I should know. I'll put the link down below. Don't go down rabbit holes, but he's got relatively good information, great information in his interviews. So I heard the Joe Dispenza interview, and it just really clicked and like triggered, registered. Like, man, I've got that book. I've never done anything with it, and it sounds like it's what I need to do. So I picked up the book. I started reading it. I also got the audio book, and I started diving into it right after Christmas, probably between Christmas and New Year's. I started listening to the audio. I think when I was driving from St. Louis to Texas to go visit a couple of my kids that are still in Texas, and I just committed to the book. And it's been, we'll call it 3 weeks, and I would say I've had one of the most meaningful transformations in my life as far as personal development to help me get refocused and committed to the things that I'm creating in my life. And I'm sorry if this video is a little kind of out in the weeds. I'm just trying to get this out. It's my first video. But what I learned from this book, and I would say that I've studied it, I've listened to it probably 3 times. And then I do read it, and I'll sit down and I'll take notes in my journal. Because it's broken down into 3 sections. And I don't know if it's relevant, but if I can find it real quick, it kind of tell you just to kind of give you an idea. Part 1, the science of you, and then so just kind of talks about your body and some like medical terms. And then it goes into your brain and meditation. So this book is about meditation and focus, but it's really how to reprogram yourself. That might sound weird. And then part 3 is he calls it stepping into your new destiny. It basically walks you through the meditation process and how to properly apply it. So the key takeaway, again, nutshell, kind of like the Reader's Digest version or shorter, that I learned and the impact that I received was it made me aware of ways I've behaved or responded most of my life, most of my adult life. And I had to do a lot of reflection. And the key, like emotion, and I'm going to go back to emotion because it's really important. And as you follow along this channel, you'll know why, how it relates to everything, how we perform, how everything in our life shows up. By being aware of our emotions and what causes them. So essentially, I was addicted to the feeling of insecurity. That means a lot for different people. My version of insecurity was I didn't feel that I was good enough, but I did a really good job of hiding it. It showed up in my results. My performance might be there, like I'm doing the act. Think about if I'm in sales. So some of the key things that would be successful, you're like, man, this guy he's doing all the right things, but he's not getting. I had a pretty good career. I've been relatively successful, but I would like fall off the cliff at some point, and that was due to my insecurity that I'd learned and became more aware of. Just with being self-sabotaging, I would make. I had my best income. I made $100,000 one month from it was a piece of real estate that I sold. So it took me a little bit of time. But there was, I had commission checks in the 40, 50, 60. I believe I've had a $60,000 commission check. I know I've had several 40,000 and 50,000s, and then some smaller 3, 4, 5, 6, 10s, which are all amazing. But I would just fall off a cliff after that, and I didn't know why. I just couldn't keep up the trajectory. In a lot of other ways in my career too, I would get to a certain point in my career, and then I would. I didn't know it at the time, but I would self-sabotage. And it's not. I don't want to make this all about me, but just think about in your life where if you've done things where you've gone so well and you know that behavior, activity-wise, you're doing the right things, and then all of a sudden there might be a cliff if you can kind of visualize it that way, where your performance stops. I would also get really, I'm going to say disparaged. I don't know if that's the right word, but I don't want to use the word depressed, where I would just kind of be like, man, this is never suicidal to the point at all. Let me be clear. Let me clarify this. Never like, oh my God, I'm going to end it all, because I know it's very traumatic, and that I don't want to go down that road, because I know that there's people that genuinely deal with those thoughts. But I would get into such a state of despair that I'd be like, oh, there's nothing, you know what I mean? I'm just not going to do anything anymore. I'm going to quit. And I would change job, or I would do things like suicide career, you know what I mean? Like where I would just end my career at a certain place. And then try to start, this cycle. And I became so self-aware over it I guess I'd known about it for years, but really dial into it by reading this book and just looking back and looking at the way things showed up and how things kept happening, right? So you could go into the buzzword is law of attraction. I know that's a hokey word, whatever that word is, for a lot of people. There's evidence you do create things in your life with your thoughts. You're not just going to sit there and think about $1 million and it's going to fall in your lap. Not saying that, but I'm saying I do believe that you kind of co-create your own reality. And so being aware of the insecurity and the anger and how it would show up and how my body would feel. So I became so aware of that, and I was like, oh, this is through the book, through the study of the book. So he teaches you to identify, what that is. And essentially, through the book, he talks about and explains that there's our body, there's our environment, and there's time. And we don't have to talk about all those in the video because it can be deep, but Joe does a very great job of explaining it in the book. That essentially my body at some point, and I think I do know where it originally started, where I got addicted to essentially your brain, when you have thoughts, it creates chemicals, right, in your body, hormones and all this stuff that make you feel a certain way. So essentially my body got addicted to that feeling, probably, I would say, similar to the way people get addicted to alcohol, drugs, gambling, sex. It's all a feeling, right? It's all the only goal that most people, anyone has, is to feel good. And we say it's certain things like cars or income, but if you really drill down into it, like I think my unconscious goal was to have this feeling, this chemical feeling of insecurity. And so that always, so I would do the things necessary unconsciously to get that feeling of insecurity. And again, I didn't walk around, oh, I'm afraid, like, but I could have conversations, and behind my eyes, I could be so insecure and feeling of not worthiness, unworthiness, whatever it is. So through the process of this book, you determine what those emotions are. You start with one. You may have more. Most of them are linked. And again, we can dive deeper into the book, and maybe I will do that because it'll help me understand it more. But that's so. You need to be aware of that, and then once you have this awareness to it, you're more mindful of it, and then you can stop it, or you can control it. You change it, so you change the habit. So breaking the habit of being yourself. The habit I had was the habit of insecurity. It's not the habit of feeling those emotions. So on the flip side of that coin, there's eagerness, which is my new emotion that I focus on. Like, I'm just eager. It's like, remember as a kid, or even now, I like Christmas Eve. It's like, oh, tomorrow is Christmas. I'm even just like in goosebumps now, that the thrill and the eagerness, that's a positive emotion versus being in despair of like, oh, what was me, right? So you basically, I've learned through this meditative process to switch from feelings of insecurity, anger, uncertainty, shame, to eagerness, joy, excitement, right? Tops of the top of the emotional balance scale, which we'll talk more about, the emotional scale. And so in the meditation process, he walks you through, I think it's called the setup or the induction, where you take you get fully relaxed. You go from beta brainwaves, which is this, to alpha, which is super relaxed. And I've been meditating for a long time, so I do believe I get to theta, which is the body's asleep, mind awake, and that's where you can make more progress quicker. Don't worry about all that now. Just if you're interested, get the book, or I can, sign up below if you want some more information. I can help walk you through it. No, there's no charge. I'm going to give back on the stuff that I learned. So, so you go into the induction, you relax your body, and then you actually focus on that feeling. And then you go through a process in the book, in the meditation that he talks about in the book, so that you're aware of it. And then in the moment, you say things like change, right? So when it comes up, and then from there, in the meditation, you've created a new future, a new habit, and then you create those feelings in your body while you're meditating with visualization to essentially change the brain. Like he talks about the science of it, about the I think he says nerves that fire together wire together, and nerves that stop firing together unwire. So like, to give you an example, there were, again, very layman's terms, right? In my brain, there were synapses or connections of uncertainty and these chemicals, right? And they would fire, so they would grow together. Well, you essentially break those, and then new connections of empowerment and eagerness. Like I'm excited now about this. Start wiring together, and it's not an overnight. It's not a one and done. It's something you have to commit to. I would do it for. I don't know. You just do it, and you just keep doing it until you get the results you got. It happened to me within days. I went from being probably at one of my all-time lows in life to I feel amazing, and I'm very excited about my future. You know what I mean? So it's you got to just do it. I think if you found this video, it was meant for you. And then it just basically walks you through the process. And if you're new to meditation, you don't have to worry about it. It might take a little bit longer, because he breaks the process down into like a 4-week learning where he takes the meditation and he breaks it into 4 components. I should have these written down, but it's the induction. Let me see if I can pull up the thing here real quick. Yeah. So there's week 1 is prune away the habit of being yourself. So it's recognizing, admitting, and surrendering your old way of being, essentially. Part I'm sorry, week 1 is the induction. Week 2 is where you would prune, and you basically break the habit that you're trying to break. And then week 3 is dismantling the memory of the old you, observing and reminding. It just talks you how to control your thoughts so you have different feelings. And then creating a mind for your new future, week 4. And it just goes into, that's where you basically create the mental images where, one of mine is I'm in a Tacoma. I want another Tacoma. And I'm with my girlfriend, and we're having just a nice, relaxing, moment. We're driving down the road. My hand is on her leg, and we're going. It's just very positive visualization, right? And it's things that I want. We're going like a certain trip that we're going to, right? So it's, you do that, and you do things you can do with your income or golf. I'm starting to work on my golf skill set, your career. So it's very similar to, Neville Goddard or Bob Proctor. A lot of everybody teaches the same thing. They just say it a different way. Even what Joe says, it's the same shit that Neville Goddard said. He just says it Joe says it it's a more modern and scientific medical terminology, but it essentially relates to the same thing. So this probably isn't anything new if you've read Neville Goddard books, Joseph Murphy, The Power of Meditation books. It just clicked with me, and it just hit right. And I think it was at the right place in time where I was like, I'm ready to take action. I got to the point where I want to solve this problem, and it was there. So I've probably been rambling on for a while. And I want to thank you for watching this video. And again, if you're in your mid-40s, early 40s, 50s, if you're a human being on Earth and you are entrepreneurial and you want to start your business, and maybe a component of it is online, I'm here to share my journey on what I'm building as far as like from a digital business. It's going to be a physical business. Manufacturing also is one of my end goals. But I'm also going to talk about sales and marketing and the things I learn. And the next book I'm going to start breaking down is Trust Me, I'm Lying by Ryan Holiday. I've read a few of his books. He was the chief marketing officer or marketing director for American Apparel. So and he also has a blog where he talks about, and a couple books where he talks about just personal development and business. But this book is specific to media, marketing, advertising, how we're manipulated, essentially. I'm not reading it to learn how to manipulate people. I want to learn how I can potentially get manipulated. So I'm going to share those insights with the audience as well. So you have an awareness of it, but also I want you to understand if you're an entrepreneur, you have to be able to promote your business and how you can use some of these philosophies and principles in a positive way to impact the world with whatever product you have. And I'm also going to combine it with the business acumen, business stuff that I study, but also key personal development things. Maybe we should come up with a better way to describe it. But, I've dealt with anxiety. I've dealt with, feelings of unworthiness. You probably have too if you're not where you want to be in your life. So click the button below to subscribe. And if you got something on this video, I'd appreciate a like. That does help the algorithm or whatever it's called. And then there'll be a link in the description to the books that I've mentioned. And also, I'll have some basic text set up for this video so you can opt in just to be reminded of some videos that when they come out. And if you're interested in some one-on-one coaching, I would be more than happy to hop on a call with you to talk about that. I can share with you a little bit more of my journey and see if it's a good fit based on where you are. You may be a better coach for me, right? Depending on where you are. But I might, if I can help you, I'll help you. Again, there's nothing. I'm not selling anything. It would be, just as a service, as a way for me to give back. I would appreciate a testimonial because if I'm helping people, I would like to. Ultimately, I probably would start a small little consulting firm to help people start their businesses. I'm not looking to be a guru on the internet that sells a bunch of bullshit. I just want to give back and share with you what I learned. So thank you for watching this video. I greatly appreciate it, and I'm excited to keep doing this.